they made a good trailer. Like a major studio actually put out a good trailer that made me more interested in checking out a movie. And the poster's great. What the hell's going on? I feel like I'm living in some backwards alternate reality. The trailer's even in reverse. The Omen is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. I love it to pieces, but I've had zero expectations for the prequel that's set to release in April. It's got the most generic prequel title ever, and honestly, after the last, 6 straight years of legacy sequels, I'm a little burnt out on the formula. This, to me, seemed like they were just checking off another box through all the classic horror franchises to try and cash in on the name, and I've been assuming that this will be a by-the-numbers prequel. It still could be, but I want to be positive today and praise the hell out of this first marketing push for the movie because it genuinely surprised me. First things first, this poster is fantastic. I get really nerdy about artwork for media, whether it's a movie, show, game, music, whatever it is. I've even mulled over the idea of doing some videos where I design my own artwork for things I think were done a disservice. And if I ever end up doing that, I can leave the first Omen alone because they nailed it here. Well, God, that's such a confusing name. I'm referring to the new movie, not the actual first. I'm blaming the Xbox One. Seriously though, this is a fantastic poster that evokes the kind of thing I want to see from the Omen. It's really ominous with this grainy, inverted black and white image and the woman silhouetted in the upside down cross as she looks to the church. It makes me so happy to see them incorporating the narrative into the artwork, because we have this woman here who goes to Rome to join the church, only to discover some dark conspiracy there to bring to life the Antichrist, and that's all perfectly reflected by the upside down cross below the church, reflecting the dark secrets going on within. And the woman who came here to devote her life to service to the church is getting pulled into that darkness. The inverted colors are also thematically relevant, where we have this place of benevolent worship being used for evil purposes. I love when the artwork for a story enables that kind of breakdown. That's how it should be, and they did a bang-up job here. Beautiful. Now, moving on to the trailer. This is how you catch people's attention. I know I seem like I'm really hyping the hell out of this movie right now, and I do want to talk about that in a sec, but what I'm really focused on right now is how this first trailer and the poster took me from having zero expectations and the movie being a bit of an afterthought to something that I'm properly intrigued by and will now be actively following. So the trailer doesn't really give much of anything in terms of plot. It's very reserved and it's only a minute long, which is increasingly rare and really pleasant to see. First thing you might notice is the use of Fever Ray's If I Had a Heart, which has been used for a bunch of things over the years. It was in Breaking Bad, it was in that really cool dark fantasy movie with Daniel Radcliffe called Horns, and probably most famously, it was used as the theme song for Vikings. If you want something to feel dark and like it's reaching a tipping point that's gonna all fall apart very soon, this is a great go-to song for that. I was surprised to hear it in this trailer, but I actually think it works quite well in the context. There's a lot of really striking imagery here, and what's interesting is that it's all in reverse. I'm not sure if that will be relevant to the story itself, or if it was just a creative decision to make the trailer more eye-catching, but whichever one it was, it works. I had no idea that Bill Nye and Ralph Ineson were in this movie, so I was very pleasantly surprised to see them appear. Casting Ineson as a young Father Brennan is actually really good casting, and I'm glad they're looking into that character more because he's very interesting in the first movie, and it does feel like there's more stuff to explore there. It's easy to cut a vague trailer to make a bad movie look better than it is, but what piques some interest is that there wasn't anything here that I thought was overly generic or predictable. First thing to note is that there's some great shot composition here, and that final image in the trailer being an extreme close-up on the eye is quite striking. After how safe The Exorcist Believer was, it's really nice to see that this movie looks like it's taking risks. It looks different. It looks like they're trying things, which is awesome. And not just narratively, it looks like stylistically there's some curveballs in there. While my first thoughts about this movie were certainly that it was being made out of obligation, some of the things that we're seeing in this trailer make it seem like, no, someone actually had a real idea for an Omen prequel that they want to bring to life. This looks creative. It doesn't look like they're taking the safest possible route. It looks like they're doing something new. And the new stuff seems pretty interesting to me. I want to know more about what's going on here. Very good stuff. The fact that they didn't feel a need to give an overly descriptive trailer and kept the poster nice and subtle makes me somewhat optimistic that they're confident in what they've got here. Now again, none of this means that this is going to be a good movie, but the reason I wanted to talk about it was because I want more marketing to be presented in the way this did. Put thought and care into the artwork to make it reflect the themes of the movie. Cut a trailer that doesn't give away the entire damn story while giving a good idea of the tone, and let the hype build on quality marketing that leaves people talking and theorizing instead of handing it all out to us before the movie's out. This is how you capture the attention of an audience, and as someone who would easily name The Omen in a list of my favorite horror movies, this first marketing push did a great job at taking me from being apathetic about this prequel to raising an eyebrow at it in interest. The writers and director don't have the biggest rap sheets, and there are certainly some red flags sprinkled in there, so do keep that in mind. I tend to get excited when people have shown promise and are early on in their career because they're probably taking feedback more to heart and are at a stage where they are just brimming with creativity and really want to prove themselves. And I've seen a lot of fantastic work come from people who are at the stage that the creative team behind this movie are at. I'm skeptical, all the same, but I'm certainly more interested than I was before, and I think at a time when we so often criticize marketing, it's equally, if not more important, to praise studios when they get it right. If this movie is as good as this first marketing push makes it look, we could be in for something really good here. We could also be in for a complete stinker, but let's bask in this moment of, praising a studio for good marketing. When the hell was the last time we did that? Oh, the first trailer for Smile was probably the last one that I liked this much. Where it was just, I don't know if it was actually the first one they released, but it was the first one I saw where it was just still images of people smiling and then just a title card, and I was like, I'm absolutely sold. I didn't watch any marketing after that. It was perfect. Anyway, we're gonna have to wait and see how the final product turns out, but in the meantime, I will be going through the entire Omen franchise as we lead up to this release. Until then, thank you for stopping by Rocklin Graves. I hope you've enjoyed your stay.